Skip to 16 minutes into the video to see when I start showing and explaining the build if you just want to see that.
Don't think I've forgotten about you.
RJ, you can still help me defeat the Timekeeper. We can win this fight, free this planet.
You don't care about the people of Kairos? You're here for the vault. You're just a murder tourist. A grave robber, shooting and looting your way through piles of people who never wanted you here. You already doomed this planet and all the others when you freed Lilith. Hell follows her, and now there's no stopping it. So don't talk to me about saving your friends. At least they'll get to die without feeling your hands around their throats.
You receive the toll you deserve!
I've seen this place. I built it for Zadra. She had a soft spot for plants. And I suppose I had a soft spot for her. I won't make that mistake again.
Blasted laser!
I'm not Zadra. vault will stay closed.
The command bolts will open the way. I dedicate this to you, Zadra. Door as large as the Timekeeper's ego. I must be drawing close.
I am enjoying a moment to myself, stargazing. Join me, if you like. Just think, Vault Hunter.
If you had never arrived, we would still have futures, gleaming and bright, within the Timekeeper's crystalline order.
But now we all will die. Every last soul. Because of you.
All I have ever known is forever. That is my use. Forever. Here. As the clock ticks, I remain still. My order is eternal. You are a moment that shall soon pass. So let's enjoy it. I see everything. Enough! Free will. A rampant tumor, killing my perfect system. And why should you get to be free? All you do is destroy. While I must hold back chaos for eternity!
You think you're the prisoner? You did all of this yourself.
Is that what I look like through the eyes of a Vault Hunter? Someone who has a choice. I was given an order.
let's finally talk about the build. This build is, I love it. It's good with everything, besides melee. And we don't use Groundbreaker. I feel like you probably could do a little bit of that too if you felt like it, and make it a half melee build on top of it. I don't feel like that adds to it in any way though, so I'm like, yeah, no, let's not do that. But yeah, as you'll see, it's like this build's good with its gun. I mean, obviously it's an ordnance build primarily, but it's still good with guns. It's still good with its skill, Scourge, Forge Waves, like the taunt ability. Like, it just has so much going for it to just kill everything pretty much, no matter what. You don't need to even use Scourge, frankly, which is another reason we don't use now with Caffeine, as you'll find, because there's just no need. We maintain Scourge forever, and then whenever we are caught with our pants down maybe and actually have Scourge on cooldown, when we're like in co-op farming and we're speeding through the other players and it's resetting our cooldown, well, that's not a big deal because we're still invincible with an infinite rocket launcher when we need to be without Scourge. And we don't have to pop rep kits then, so we can actually just keep our rocket launcher out forever when we don't have Scourge active. But then when we do, we can keep Scourge active forever, and then we go gadgets are, well, I'm already explaining all the build. Let's just finally get into it. So you see here, we're using a super plasma coil. It's the perfect primary gun because it activates, it's shock, so it helps with shields when we already do like cryo and stuff. That helps with all the other types. And it also applies status effects, so it helps with the maintaining its own ammo when we use it, and maintaining, like, again, if Scourge isn't active, then it still helps with, if Scourge and our Ordnance aren't active, we can still get our shield back by just spamming this, basically. And on that note, we make sure all our other guns are just the beam toss shotguns, because it's perfect. We just cycle between them, still able to dish out a ton of damage against elites or bosses without even using our Ordnance if we're, again, caught with our Ordnance not active, Scourge maybe not active either, and it's like, okay, well, we can still use this. Or as you'll find, I don't know if I saw, but yeah, Elemental Eaters. Elemental Eaters are, of course, the bane of almost every build's existence. So having 3 different beam tossers with 3 different elements, and with a plasma coil for 2 different elements on it, really helps deal with that nightmare. So we're able to just eventually kill those things when they stop us. Now for the gun enhancements, pretty much perfect, but anything gun related affects our heavy weapon, affects our rocket launcher, just so you know. So we have gun damage, gunfire rate, and gun status effect damage, which, because of our build and the type of guns we use, every single gun we use or damage we deal from anything is activating multiple status effects on enemies. So that also helps, the damage from that really helps the damage over time from like Tail of Comet and stuff like that on our infinite ordnance too. Now for the rep kit, the most important thing on the rep kit is just having a mini one, a low cooldown one. That's an order rep kit with go-go gadgets. Like, at least have that. You can go triple bypass if you want to get go-go gadget with a mini one still, essential to get a mini one, so that it maintains our Scourge forever with our class mod that you'll see. And then makes it so that, because every time you use a rep kit, you go back to cooldown on your Ordnance based off your magazine size at the time. So this just ensures that every time we use our rep kit to maintain Scourge, we're getting our rocket launcher back quicker. Most of the time, as you'll see, we can just immediately pop it out again. Sometimes we gotta wait a bit if we used up too much ammo without it replenishing. But even then, I mean, the most we ever wait is just a few seconds, pretty much. And that's why we still make use of the other stuff on our build for times that we may not use our rocket launcher or just simply don't want to. Our shield is a perfect roll, just so you know. You don't need this shield. I mean, obviously a really good shield you could use is the power play one, the soldier one. I thought of using that one. It's just, it makes me way too frail compared to using this shield that I'm like, I don't want to do it. You could use just a basic form of the power play shield and still be mostly invincible just thanks to the shield restoration, but most importantly, the just infinite Scourge, because that pretty much gives you infinite invulnerability at least from the front, and then you're healing still a bunch from activating status effects for replenishing your shield too. So you'd probably still be fine for the most part, and then get a nice 25% fire rate on adding even more to your rocket launcher damage and guns, and then also giving you even more ammo replenishing. However, I feel the ammo replenishing is not that needed, I would say, when we already have an infinite one and we use Go-Go Gadget. So the main thing would just be the fire rate, which would be nice, but again, with just a basic one, we're not going to have it constantly because we're going to take damage. And again, I'm just way too frail. Now, if I were to find a power play one with like double stack turtle at least I think the base ones have like anywhere between like 16 to 20,000 K base shield amount, but you can get a triple turtle on that shield too. And if you ever find that perfect piece, or well, really what would be the perfect piece for a tank build like this would be probably Siphon on it for any sort of damage you deal to give you overshield, which would be amazing for our taunt again, because our taunt pulses out hitting massive amounts of enemies constantly, so it would just activate that chance a lot from Siphon. But also still have, I'd say at least 2 stacks of turtle, so you're still a super tank with that shield down. That would be like the absolute perfect piece, but like I'm ever gonna find that. And again, like I don't even want to bother trying to, because they're just going to increase the level cap and make all these perfect rolls totally useless. You're just going to have to level up again later on. So a part of me doesn't want a perfect roll. Now I have a perfect roll here. It's true for this shield, but I traded for it though. I didn't find this. You think I found this? Of course not. I was able to find one of these shields with turtle, but just 1 stack of turtle. So it was still way less shield. So yeah, just in case you're wondering, yeah, we got 56,000 at the base, and when you see we have like 90,000 shield with our buff from the skill tree combined with that and the specialization. So yeah, it's just, we are completely invincible because of this shield. But again, you could use power play, you could use practically any energy shield and still be mostly invincible still on this build, because of just the fact you have infinite Scourge and then also still get shield restoration too. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but yeah, I just got to show like this is obviously a perfect roll for the super tank I'm going for. Now, speaking of perfect rolls, this is a perfect roll rocket launcher. But again, you could use, before I had this one, I had like a 21,000 DPS one that was like a faster fire rate extended mag one. It would still, at least for it, like you would still clear mobs at relatively the same speed. You would take a little longer to kill bosses though, but it was still OP. Like you can use that. You can use the Atling gun if you want. You can use honey bunches. I have one of those. It's really good against bosses. I don't like it too much when I'm mobbing, because I just found when I tried using honey bunches that it's just, I was just like having to go on cooldown a lot more. Like I wasn't replenishing my ammo as much because you have to aim that thing a lot more. You have to land your hits more with that thing, which I didn't like. But you can still make it work. And also it has a really low base, like it has a 25-second base cooldown. So that combined with Go-Go Gadget means that you're pretty much using it most of the time anyway, even if you don't replenish the ammo when you miss your shots. But yeah, I'm just saying those are all options. You can use like, I was thinking of 2-shot homing, like burst, those elemental like grenade things. I forgot what they're called, that shoot like giant balls, explosive balls. You can use that. Like there's a lot of ones you could use and still maintain. You can use bottled lightning. I still don't like that again because I find I lose the ammo too much. I don't like the Atling gun. The Atling gun for the most part is great, but it sprays so quickly with their fire rate buffs too, that I just found I would still lose because it has a ridiculous recoil. So like the recoil with the fire rate would just skyrocket the gun up so much that I actually would lose the homing projectiles and still have to go on cooldown because I'd start missing hits regardless. And then vile enemies, you can't land hits. Basically, my point is the rocket launcher, the base rocket launcher, is frankly the best gun, I think, because it's great for bossing, still does a lot of single target damage. Great for mobbing, obviously, a lot of AoE damage. It has a low cooldown, so if you lose ammo, it never takes long to get it back anyway. And then it just also still has a fast fire rate, a good magazine size, so that way you're able to maintain the ammo often. And then it's explosive, so even against vile enemies, you just rip off their armor quickly and get back to damaging them, so you never lose the ammo on them either. So it's just, you pretty much never lose the ammo on a rocket launcher. If you do, it has a low cooldown, and it's good against everything. So it just was a no-brainer for me. Everyone out there is using like the Atling gun or the honey bunches, and I just hate those. Like, I mean, again, they're good alternatives until you get something like this, but yeah, I prefer just standard rocket launcher. Now, the class mod is absolutely essential, and this is mostly a perfect roll minus the health regen. Perfect roll, we'd get like, I don't know, damage, further damage of some kind with what we already have on it, and then it would be perfect. But yeah, this is the recurrent Guardian purple class mod is essential because you have to get that action skill duration combined with the blue skill node tree buff on your rep kit duration. Your rep kit's giving you action skill duration. You need that combo to maintain Scourge or Onslaughter infinitely on Amon. So this unfortunately is a requirement for if your goal is, again, like this kind of infinite Scourge synergy that I'm doing with infinite ordnance. This is obviously not a requirement to just have infinite ordnance at all, but you could go a better class mod for damage on that front. But to use Scourge infinitely with it, yeah, this class mod's a requirement. Next up, firmware. As I said, the heavy weapon, the rocket launcher, gets buffed by everything gun-related too. So that's why I went with this, because I realized we can actually get a decent amount of fire rate on our rocket launcher, which is just basically flat-out extra DPS. I mean, that's basically like 30% more damage, period, because of the extra fire rate on our rocket launcher. Well, I mean, it doesn't buff like forge waves and that stuff, so it has some limitations, but for the most part, I just think it's a perfect thing. What else would I use? Get Thrown doesn't even work, the ordnance damage on it, and it doesn't give that much. I could go a little bit of action skill damage, as you'll see we do that too, but again, you can't stack too much. You have to go melee when we're not using melee. We're using crits, but we're not a crit-based build, so all that stuff is kind of useless. So we could go Googe, but again, we're losing out on damage, and we don't really need that cooldown, I feel like. So yeah, this made the most sense for me. Just more fire rate. Gadget Ahoy is obvious. Reduced damage. And, I just realized I used the wrong slide. So yeah, I was talking about Bullet Frenzy on the previous one, but obviously we're using Gadget Ahoy too. So, and I'm showing the Bullet Frenzy one here. I got my recordings wrong, but yeah, obviously Gadget Ahoy, ordnance damage, ordnance cooldown, self-explanatory. Now onto the skill tree. Obviously we're using Scourge action skill. We go a little bit in the red tree, get heavy plating. More shield is more shield regen too because of our skill node. It's a percentage-based healing. Then 1 point in gut punch is all we need for our rocket launcher to always put weakness on things, and for our taunt to constantly put weakness on things. Now for the blue tree, Battleborn, self-explanatory. It's 40% gun damage, so it's just a lot. Now I'm just going to stop talking for the rest of these. You can just pause the video as I go through these slides now. All of them, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. Like taunt, the main thing I want to talk about is like taunt. Yeah, we want to draw aggro for team support and just because it makes us feel like a tank. But the pulsing from taunt combined with all the damage we're stacking, I mean, you see it kills the fodder enemies relatively quickly. So it's just slowly wiping the entire field out, basically. But especially when we combine it with forge waves against like the hordes, like the Ripper hordes you've seen. Certain enemies like that. Order we don't, because they have a lot of shields that resist cryo. But so that's when I just use my rocket launcher and only use it then. But other enemies, flying hordes, stuff like that. I find it's great to just spam like my forge waves with my taunt combo, because then they're both basically doing tons of damage over time and AoE around the field that slowly just destroys everything. And it's fun. So That's a great combo, I feel like, is the taunt aggro. And it heals your teammates too. Like, it debuffs them from the weakness gut punch skill node. Like, it just does everything. So, and it draws aggro, keeps the aggro. So we're a true tank that way, a classic tank. So, yep, that's why we use it. I forgot what the capstone's called that I showed, but yeah, we don't use the stupid shield, whatever it's called, that shoot, it gives you a bonus to projectiles you shoot through. I hated that thing. It's so clunky and annoying trying to get that set up right, I feel like. And then it's only good against bosses. It's never good in mobbing because there's too much movement and stuff going around in mobbing for it to ever be useful for the most part. So it's a very, very situational and frustrating to use in my view skill. So I never liked that. I was never going to use it. So Glacial Rapture, that's what it's called, the capstone we're using. But as you see, I actually like it. Like, again, it doesn't, I have to watch when I use it sometimes because it does nothing if they have shields on, I've noticed. But if they're like flesh or armored enemies, like it applies the damage over time as well with my taunt. Like it stacks with my taunt pulsing too. And it actually kind of shreds groups of enemies pretty quickly sometimes. It's a nice thing to use between my rocket launcher, basically. If my rocket launcher is ever on a longer... If it's ever on it's never on a long cooldown, but a long enough cooldown where I can't activate it immediately after popping a rep kit, but my Glacial Rapture is ready, and there's a bunch of enemies around. So, I mean, it's very situational, but I mean, my point is, what else would I use anyway? It's not the best thing of this build, of course, but I like it. It also looks really cool. So that's really why I use Glacial Rapture. But finally, specializations. Yeah, we're using I Am a Gun because that's 50. That means our gun damage boosts our action skill damage by twice as amount because it's getting the boost from the ordnance, but also the action skill damage itself. So this boosts our taunt and our forge wave some. And again, I like it because the taunts just slowly whittles the field down. I like stacking some damage into that too. The forge waves are nice for flying enemies because it just has such a long radius. You can just spam the thing in the sky everywhere. So there's situations that I like this stuff. So I decided to spend one of my passives further boosting the scourge damage basically that we use on those things. So, and you see, like, they do decent damage on their own. Like, my raw gun will do better single target damage than my forge waves do, unless I have my vengeance meter filled up. But assuming I'm just spamming them at no vengeance, then their damage is not OP, but it's also not low. It feels kind of like mediocre, but the fact you can just spam them and they have such a wide radius and hit so many enemies and apply dot on everything constantly. Yeah, I actually really like I Am a Gun. So, and that's the new change, basically. Again, we got rid of Now with Caffeine for I Am a Gun, basically. And yeah, so I just wanted to end it there. Again, you can go back and just pause the video while I was scrolling through the other stuff. I felt like the rest was pretty self-explanatory. I didn't really need to go into it. Obviously, yeah, ordnance damage. I already explained the shield restoration, the ammo restoration, so we have infinite ordnance, boss damage, more damage in our specialization tree. All of it's pretty clear, so...